Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dr. Mishkat Al Mumin, and I am the founder and president of the Communication of Success. Today, we will be talking about an issue that happens in every workplace and keeps it quiet. That issue is silence. So, without further ado, let's jump in. What is silence? What do we mean by silence at the workplace? Is it that people are not talking? Is it the absence of conversation? So, what is silence? Silence is not the absence of conversation or noise. In fact, it's something totally different. It's when people stop contributing, either because they fear that nothing will change when they speak up or they will get into trouble. What does that do for the organization? It gets it to repeat itself again and again and again. But guess what? Time changes, needs change it. And then the organization will not be able to meet the demand or help its constituents. What does silence mean for a leader? And before I jump into that topic, I'd like to tell you that I communicated in war zones. Literally, when bombs and explosions were taking place, I communicated across borders and cultures, and I learned a couple of lessons throughout my journey. Um, let's see what we can deal with when it comes to options or what does silence mean for a leader. It means that your team has some sort of fear towards you. It means that the team may have experienced some sort of fatigue, burnout, or exhaustion. But most importantly, the team lost trust. I'd like to share with you a couple of stories from certain places where I worked with. I worked with a leader that oftentimes, she would call team members and team leaders to share some information with them. The information may have not been final. So, what she was sharing, some sort of perspective. Nevertheless, she wouldn't ask those team leaders not to share the information or keep it to themselves or, tell them what to do without information. As a result, rumors were all over the place, and her employees lost their trust in her. So the final result was they stopped communicating with her. They didn't tell her what was going on with the team. They didn't tell her what the classes, it was a school, how the classes were doing, and all of that. So they kind of isolated her. And that what silence mean for the leader. As a result, she had to step down. She couldn't lead because no one was communicating with her. There is a little bit of issue when it comes to silence and creativity. As I said earlier in my remarks, when the organization start repeating itself. So another story that I can share with you, I worked with an organization that was accustomed to doing things in a certain way. They conducted their classes in a certain way. The thing is, time change, and the needs of the participants also has changed. The organization did not keep up with it, so they kept doing what they were familiar with, and they didn't want to listen to any ideas that were about modernizing classrooms, how to offer models, and what the participants were needing. The result was, when they kind of silenced creativity, they didn't want to hear about anything else other than what they were familiar with. The enrollment dropped, engagement was limited, and the organization continued to struggle. How about teams? What does silence mean for teams? Let's take a look at that. Silence means that the team wants to protect itself. They want to take every single step possible to protect themselves against any risk, whether psychologically, meaning like the leader would go after them, give them a hard time, professionally, deny them promotion, cut them off from communication. So what they do is that they don't speak up at all, and you would see in meetings that all they do is nod to approve. The question isn't, why aren't they speaking? Oftentimes, leaders would reflect back on meetings or event, and they would ask themselves, like, why aren't team members speaking? The true question: have you done enough to engage them? Have you done enough to create a safe environment for them to communicate with you effectively? One of the techniques I personally use to create a safe environment for my employees to communicate with me. First of all, I designated a corner within my office, one table and two chairs. And when a team member would come in or schedule a team meeting with me, I will leave my desk and take them to the table and sit down with them. My office size was like normal office size. There wasn't something huge or big about it, but I designated an area for conversation. I also would ask the team member, can I, let's say, escalate this? Can I share with the dean? Can I share with the provost? Or you would like this to stay with me? So oftentimes before sharing, I would ask for permission. When they agree, I would tell them, can you send me an email, just one line, saying, I would like you to share, what we talked about today with the higher ups or with the, second line of supervisor. This way, when I talk to the supervisor and or talk or escalate the topic, I will not be sharing my perspective. I will be sharing what the team member wanted me to communicate. Here's what I hear from my clients, my fellow leaders, when I advocate for open door policies or communications, to take place, having a safe environment for people to share their concerns, their fears, their perspectives on how business is running. Oftentimes, I face this question: are you telling me I need to empower all the troublemakers in my department and give them the opportunity to speak up? I acknowledge every single organization has a troublemaker or two. But nevertheless, you know, you have to lead as a leader. You need to lead through disagreement. I haven't come across a leader where everyone agrees with them. That's kind of a dream, so to speak, that doesn't come to reality. Think of it this way: not every challenger is a disruptor, and not every disruptor is wrong. Maybe they have some sort of a perspective they need to share with you. Maybe they are seeing something on the ground that you are not seeing. Address behavior. If someone is misbehaving, address that separately, depending on the policies and regulations in your workplace. But don't silence ideas. Give them space to grow. Give them venues to be communicated. Another tool that I personally used in workplaces that I previously led, I would give every single direct report or supervisee a kind of one page. It says, list three things that you'd like to see more of me, and list three things that you'd like to see less of me. And I put it in an envelope, and I'll give them an extra envelope and ask them to put their responses in writing in my inbox. I could have used technology, but I wanted the supervisees to feel comfortable sharing. Oftentimes, with technology, people feel like maybe you will be able to trace it to them. Even if it says anonymous, there is that fear that maybe you will be able, through some sort of application or skill, to trace it back to them. So, to give them a peace of mind, I would communicate through, pen and paper, the old fashioned way. This way, ideas are not silenced and feedback is provided. Different employees challenge issues for different reasons. You have fear, you have ego, you name it, it's there. But the key is to listen for intent. What was their intent when they communicated, and challenge their or channel their energy. If they have a certain energy, whether it's to challenge you or to put you on the spot as a leader, channel it towards the goals and the mission of the organization. Give them a path, so to speak, to funnel this energy towards a goal. Maybe they feel that they aren't heard enough. There is that to it. If you don't have a method in your workplace for employees to connect with you, if you shut them down constantly, so if they raise an issue and you say, oh, we don't care about that, what a silly idea, or something to that effect, this is not in our mission, that employee will not speak again. No one wants to be dismissed in a meeting. So they take the safe route and they won't speak up. They won't lose anything, but the organization will. And by the end of the day, you are the leader leading this organization. Don't let few troublemakers dictate what goes in your department. Somehow you are punishing those who have ideas by not allowing them to share it. Maybe they have good ideas. Maybe they have something that will benefit the department and you as a leader. So lead with fairness. On this issue, I have to tell you that I worked in many organizations where the leader feared the kind of key player within the organization. You have a couple of superstars, sometimes one superstar, and the main supervisor or the head of the organization would feel intimidated by their knowledge. My recommendation here is to harness their creativity rather than, not acknowledging them, rather than shutting them off or not allowing them to communicate. Harness it. Uh, reap the benefits of their creativity. By the end of the day, if your department succeed, if your organization succeed, as a leader you will be given credit. But if you n- kind of dismiss them, they will not help you anymore, and as a leader you will stay alone, and that's a dangerous spot for any leader. um, I would like to acknowledge a very kind comment from a LinkedIn user. Unfortunately, I cannot tell who it is. It's not showing, but I appreciate their words. They are words of encouragement, words of support, and I truly appreciate that. It says, very proud of you, Dr. Mishkat, and I'm proud of you for being here with me today and allowing me the opportunity to connect with you and communicate with you. Let's look at some strategies to engage employees. Invite early input. Each time you can connect with your employees and invite their input. Whether it's a new project you want to conduct or an initiative you want to lead, ask for their input. My recommendation is to ask for their input in writing. And I think a survey here, a technological tool, would be very helpful. Whether you want to use, forms or, other tools available through Google Suite or Teams, then that's the time to use it. This way, when you communicate to your higher ups, whether your investors, your board members, and even to your supervisor, you can say, let's say 30% of the employees um, liked the idea. The rest, they have their reservations, so to speak. And then you can work on them. If the majority is hesitant to join you, to kind of support the initiative, now is the time to ask why. Now is the time to engage them in a dialogue or a conversation. In terms of meetings, and I can kind of detect that the word meeting makes everyone kind of feel drained. Meetings require certain tools to create dialogue. If you are calling for a meeting just to pass on information, then you don't need a meeting. All you need to do is send a quick email to everyone, and that's it. But if you are calling for a meeting to learn from your team, to share some ideas with them, my recommendation is to create an agenda. The agenda is not a list of topics. That's not an agenda. The agenda includes, time and speaker and topic. So in the agenda, you will have kind of a table that says topic, what's the topic in details, who's speaking about it, you are speaking or a team member, and for how long? For 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and so on. Use meetings as a tool to collect input. I oftentimes use tools such as Kahoot. It's a very engaging tool. You can use it to collect input from your team. You would have to create it ahead of time and share it with them, share the link, and then ask them to select options. The beauty about Kahoot is it gives you a report at the end of the activity. From the report, you can check how many people agreed, how many disagreed, how many were in between. It's fun, safe, and engaging. You also need to recognize and empower. For me personally, especially because I worked in nonprofits, each time a team member does something that is successful, that is supportive of the mission, I would write a note to the entire board and acknowledge their contribution, and I would CC them on it, so they would receive a copy of the acknowledgement. Acknowledging people is the key to engage them. If you don't acknowledge them, they feel like their work was wasted. The extra effort that they did, the extra miles that they took to achieve the mission were not, met with acknowledgement. And oftentimes we say to ourselves as leader, well, I told them thank you. Honestly, if you just say thank you, it's not enough. You have to say, I thank you for um, doing XYZ, which resulted in XYZ. That's a very good effort, and I truly appreciate it. Um, Even if you send a note that says, thank you for what you did yesterday. I did so many things yesterday. Which one of them are you referring to? I have seen also other leaders who are hesitant to acknowledge. They feel like other employees will be upset if you acknowledge one of them, but not all of them. Again, as a leader, you have to lead. Acknowledgement is key. You can acknowledge the contribution from the rest of the team, but not acknowledging anyone because some of the team members will be upset because they were not acknowledged. That's not the way to go. I would also invite every leader to catch employees doing something right. Oftentimes the leader puts the hat of the inspector on, and they go around trying to see who is coming in late, who is talking on the phone, who is checking their social media. But rather than doing that, go around and see who's working late, who's eating lunch at their office, who is trying to resolve an issue that is taking place, and acknowledge it. Follow through and stay transparent. I worked with a leader who wouldn't lead a communication workshop or, a kind of team building activity because he won't follow through. So if team members will be asking, let's say, for certain tools or resources to do their job, he won't follow up on it. He won't make it happen. First of all, he will be the first one to violate it. So if they agree, for example, that communication should be respectful, he will be the first one to yell at them. So he wouldn't and didn't conduct any workshop within the department to, help team members communicate with him. I cannot tell you how many complaints were filed against him. How many times, he was accused of violating EEO regulations, equal opportunity regulations. People could not relate to him, employees could not understand where he was coming from, and he continued to experience isolation. Connect people with a purpose. You see, if you make your employees do busy work, whatever that is, compile a list, put together 100 copies of the schedule. That is busy work. It's true. Someone needs to do it. That is correct. But you need to tie it to a purpose. Then it becomes meaningful. That's why, connecting people to purpose is also allowing them to be innovative at work. If you shut down ideas, if you don't give them a try, then you will be continuing to do what you were doing 10 years from now. So can you imagine, for example, that someone in our modern times does not want to, let's say, use a phone to communicate, or they don't want to have a transportation means, and they insist, let's say, on traveling by horse. Each technology tool we have had has a purpose. Each advancement we make serves a purpose. If your organization is leading while looking backwards, this is how we used to do it 10 years from now, and we will not change, then you cannot continue, because other organizations will be leading using technology, using purposeful engagement, using everything that you are not using. That's number one. Number two, you will kind of be obsolete. No one will engage with you because they don't find a purpose for them in what you are doing. It's outdated, it doesn't meet their needs. So always connect people with purpose. Give them a reason for the daily tasks that they are doing, and make that clear to them. Let's take a look at strategies for employees to speak up effectively. Lead with alignment. You see, oftentimes, especially if you don't have a good rapport with your supervisor, or you don't agree with their leadership style, you tend to speak using kind of a confrontational approach, or you want to put them on the spot, or somehow, catch them while they said something that is not 100% correct, or things to that effect. Rather than applying this strategy, which is to, lead with, I got you, lead with alignment. As an employee, lead with alignment. Use the organization goals, its strategic plan, its mission, its vision. And I have to tell you here that I also have experienced a situation where every single employee would say, I want this because it's aligned with the strategic planning of the organization. Perhaps overall, it's aligned with it, but to use the strategic plan as, an umbrella to get everything and anything you want, it won't work. Because at some point, which happened, the leader would stop you, would say, no, this is not exactly what it means. This is what it means. So if you want to lead with alignment, you have to do your homework. You have to analyze which goal within the strategic plan you are aligning your idea or request with. To what extent are you in full alignment, halfway through? Are there like certain gray areas? What I highly recommend in this situation, after identifying, the goal or the mission item, the mission alignment with your request or the strategic plan goal, to follow up with an email. I would submit or make a request that is, clear and straight to the point in a meeting. And then I would follow up with an email that offers a bit more details. It doesn't need to be a lengthy email, a two-paragraph email would do it, to offer more details. Expect some pushback. And when it happens, use the email technique to say, I will follow up with an email to detail the information and make it clear. This way, you are speaking, towards a proposal rather than, disagreement. So you are proposing something to address an issue or to solve a problem rather than confronting the leader or putting them on the spot just because. Ask questions, and on this note, your tone would play a big deal in it. So any question can come as accusative. Did you do this? However, I can ask the same question. Um, did you get a chance to do this? And what were the results, if you can share them with us? So your tone is key here. And make sure that you are reflecting curiosity. You want, to engage in learning more about it rather than asking a question like you are cross examining the leader. Always, always be part of the solution. Anyone and everyone can highlight what the problem is. Few people can recommend a practical solution. The solution needs to be applicable. You know, if the solution is let's hire more people, that is great. But then you have to talk to, the CFO. You have to check your budget. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. So there is that to it. Your solution needs to be applicable and practical, and has a long-term impact on improving the situation. So the solution cannot be a quick fix for a couple of days. It needs to be something that is long lasting so as we can measure its impact. Use evidence, not emotions. I cannot tell you how many times I worked with leaders and employees alike. They get emotionally involved. They let emotions take, the best of them, but there is no evidence. So, did you document? I didn't document. When this happened, sometime last week. Did you follow up with an email? I didn't follow up with an email. And you would see them crying, you would see them upset. I have seen even people yelling and screaming about something. Through the yelling and screaming, you cannot understand what's going on and how to address it. So, using evidence mean describing what had happened exactly, and you have to do it succinctly. So you cannot go on and on and on and on to describe what happened. You need three, four sentences describing exactly what had happened and when it happened. If it's something related to HR, let's say, you describe how this violated HR regulations in your company or workplace. Another example will be we tried this before and it failed. That's not evidence. This is your perspective on things. Because the immediate response will be show me the root cause analysis. It may have failed for so many reasons that we're not taking into account. That's why I always recommend to leaders to lead with instrument. One of them is root cause analysis. When something fails, when an initiative fails, you would see people looking down, feeling upset, or looking discouraged. Now is the time when things fail. Now is the time to take a pen and a paper and start working on root cause analysis. If you don't want a root cause analysis, that's fine. You can use action research to examine the situation and analyze it and provide recommendations for next time. Failing is part of a process. It doesn't mean that you have to dismiss the idea altogether. I think we talked about this a lot. Time and tone matters. You can say the most engaging thing ever, but if your tone is not a good tone, meaning it's accusative, you are trying to accuse somebody of doing something, it won't, land well. Timing also matters. So if you waited to the last minute where the meeting is about to conclude to raise a question or to comment on something, then that's not a good idea. People will be ready to leave. Maybe they planned something after this meeting and you are keeping them, after or very close to the end of the meeting time. For meetings, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to have an agenda and clarify the purpose of the meeting. You are calling these people for what? What do you want to convey to them? And what you are hoping to get from them. So each invitee needs to have a purpose for attending the meeting. The communication of success can help in many ways. Um, Rather than keeping silence going, the communication of success can help you transform silence into strategy. Identifying communication gaps is an essential for advancing any organization. Where do people stop talking? When do you see that your employees are disengaged and why? Suddenly, if or certainly, if people are showing signs of fatigue, burnout, that can be a time to examine those communication gaps. Lead strategic planning. Each organization should have a strategic plan, um, at least for 5 years. And it should include metrics to measure how are we going to achieve this goal? On this note, I will give you a quick tip. Don't make your strategic plan all about numbers. So we have to, let's say, train 100 teacher. We have to increase attendance by 10%. Those are good, but they need to align to a bigger goal. The easiest way to identify this goal is to use the word because. So we need to train 100 teachers because we need to increase attendance by 10%, 20% because, and oftentimes you would receive like artificial answers because this is our mission, because this is what we do. But the answer should be connected to the purpose of the organization. That's very important. Why the organization exists, what's its role within the community. So, strategic planning is connected to the purpose of the organization. Develop communication policies. So, for example, do you have a policy for combating gossip? That's a big one that many organizations suffer from. To promote transparency. How do you promote transparency and sharing information within your organization? These are areas that the communication of success can help you achieve and promote. Strengthening your funding capacity. It seems to be a challenging time for many nonprofits. So, if you are looking for an opportunity to apply for grants, to have your grant reviewed and examined for feedback, please reach out and let's have a conversation. Training and sustaining. So, oftentimes, employees need training when it comes to how to communicate. Sometimes they need coaching, and that's another area that the communication of success can help you with. The easiest way to reach out to me is through LinkedIn. And you can Google my name, Mishkat Al Mumin, and feel free to send me a message, and I will be more than happy to connect with you. Here are some tools that are offered for free if you'd like to explore them. So please feel free to visit my channel on YouTube, The Communication of Success. I have a lot. I have many videos on the cost of silence, on dealing with workplace issues such as favoritism, for example, and how to address it in the workplace, how to, build strong rapport with your employees, and how to deal with harassment. Please feel free to, check one of my videos, leave a comment, and if you have a topic in mind, I will be more than happy to develop a video about it. You can also visit my Substack at Dr. Mishkat. I talk a lot about bias in the workplace, discrimination, and how to address them. On my Substack, I also provide activities ready for you to utilize in your workplace. LinkedIn is my favorite platform, if you'd like, and I post every Sunday an article that examines the connection between leadership and education. Last but not least, feel free to visit the website. The website is thelanguageofsuccess.net. Language is the kind of big umbrella for communication. That's why I selected this URL. There are lots of resources that you can download for free and examine and maybe reflect upon, use it in your workplace. One of my hats, or one of the hats that I wear, is I am the brand ambassador for Quarantine Racism Educational Services. And if you'd like to focus on your classroom, you can receive proven strategies to build good rapport with your students. And you can learn more by visiting this URL, the quarantineracism.com. And if you would like to use my name as a referral, feel free to use this URL in front of you. And I'll be more than happy to take any questions. I don't see more comments for me to look at, but you can reach out to me anytime on LinkedIn, and I look forward to hearing from you. I am hoping that I will be live streaming every other Saturday. So if there is a topic you would like me to focus on, please feel free to send me a text on LinkedIn. Thank you again for being with me, and I look forward to hearing from you.